The fact that Jesus came in a manger and the seed of the kingdom was there, Lord at birth, is a phenomenal concept. That Lord at birth, the idea that every Christian is going to have to die to self. Every Christian is going to have to embrace the cross. The way up is the way down. Those are very important things. But you have to also have the crown of Christ. The crown of Christ is critical because it's the resurrected Christ that gives us that power. It's not the crucified life that we live, it's the resurrected life that we live. But we need to be crucified in order to have a concept of resurrection. So we recognize that unless you have wrestled with sin, unless you have wrestled with the effects of sin and the power that sin can have over you, you won't appreciate the resurrected life. At the same time, unless you are walking in an emphasis of resurrection life, you're just going to be a negative, very depressed Christian. So I think all three need to be embraced in their proper sphere by Christians, and they can also have an appreciation for it. Those of us who are in the pastorate recognize I can thunder any sermon I want to thunder from the pulpit and be hard on sin and I'm a preacher of holiness and dealing with all those things. But in the day-to-day working with people, if you don't know how to deal as a lamb, if you don't know how to deal and pastorally deal with people, just dealing with only one aspect. I've sometimes preached a sermon called The Four Faces of Christ from the four Gospels. That there are four faces. Christ is revealed in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but he's revealed in a different way in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And he's revealed as a lion, and he's revealed as a lamb, and he's revealed as an eagle, and he's revealed as a suffering servant. And you, all of us, God will come to us in those various faces that we need, sometimes at the moment. So I agree, there's got to be a balance in all that. I think for those of us that have re-examined the theology of covenant in the Scriptures, we recognize that the new covenant, the access that God has given us the ability by grace, which is a word ability in the Greek, to keep the law, to keep his covenant. We could never keep his covenant without his ability to do so. That greatest access, the greatest benefit is to be able to come before the throne of grace at any time into his presence. And I think that, as Hebrews says, the blood of Jesus Christ has opened the way to the holiest. And I think that in New Covenant is very, very critical, the New Covenant of Christ. I think for every believer, otherwise you can be depressed with the sin you battled with yesterday. You get up with this negative concept. For whatever happens regarding all the lofty theological statements, every one of us has to live day by day. And to do that victoriously, we need to get up, and we get up with a conscious understanding of the new covenant, that Christ has forgiven the sins that have been repented of, and we can have that new access into the holiest of all.
Good. Okay, last question has to do